In GTA, a world of gang wars, betrayal and survival, CJ stands out, not just as a gangster, but as a man constantly torn between loyalty and ambition. Sometimes he's a hero, risking everything for family and friends, other times he's cold, calculated and ruthless. This is the story of CJ's most selfless and selfish acts. And yeah, let's just skip the old DES haircut that I made. Let's get into the video. Saving Denise. In the mission Burning Desire, CJ is called in by Officer Tenpenny, who instructs him to eliminate a Vago's gang member causing problems and to torch the gang's house. Following orders, CJ sets the place on fire, but as the flames spread, he discovers an innocent woman trapped inside. Despite having no obligation and nothing to gain, CJ chose to risk his life and save her. Denise had no ties in Tenpenny's corrupt schemes, yet CJ's decision to rescue her shows a rare glimpse of his humanity. Helping Sweet to gain back the Grove. After returning to Los Santos and seeing how far the Grove Street families had fallen during his absence, CJ made it his mission to help Sweet restore the gang's former strength. He might have something to gain personally, but his decision was driven purely by loyalty to his brother. CJ recognized how much the Grove meant to Sweet, and because of that, he was willing to put his life on the line, not for power or recognition, but simply for his brother's cause.
We've been putting time in the hood, but we gotta get the homies back together. Like the old days.
From the very beginning of the game, CJ took on countless dangerous tasks to rebuild the Grove's reputation, and his efforts paid off. The gang began to recover, fighting back and reclaim their turf. CJ repeatedly risked his life for the Grove, proving that his loyalty wasn't just talk.
CJ, you my brother, my running dog. I should have never doubted you.
It's nothing.
Even after Sweet was released from prison, and despite everything CJ had achieved on his own, he still chose to help his brother restore what Sweet saw as family. CJ didn't hesitate, even though continuing the fight could have cost him his life. He did it because Sweet mattered to him. And while it's often overlooked, CJ offered to share the success he built during Sweet's absence. He never hesitated. He simply wanted his brother by his side in everything he had accomplished.
What you mean, man? What's mine is yours, and you know that.
Whether Sweet appreciated it or not, CJ's actions spoke volumes about the kind of brother he truly was. Looking out for his sister. CJ's relationship with his sister Kendl began to improve during the mission Cesar Villalpando. Concerned for her safety, especially as the sister of a gang leader with enemies, CJ followed her to find out who she was dating. He even entered the lowrider competition just to stay close and make sure she wasn't putting herself in danger. But once CJ met Cesar and saw how genuinely he cared for Kendl, he decided to respect their relationship for her sake, rather than just acting in a racist and dumb way just how Sweet acted.
You got a problem with me? Fine. We don't have to be friends. But Kendl, she's happy with me, carnal.
Yeah, okay. I guess we cool. For now.
Even after the fall of the Grove Street families and the chaos that followed, CJ continued to prioritize Kendl's safety, knowing that anyone connected to the Grove, especially family, could be in danger. He focused on rescuing Sweet from prison while trusting Cesar to keep Kendl safe. Whenever things get dangerous, CJ would immediately call Cesar and ask him to get Kendl to safety. Her well-being was always at the top of his mind.
You gotta do something, man.
I'm trying, man. I just gotta make sure Kendl's safe first.
CJ's devotion to Kendl extended beyond just physical protection. He was ready to go to extreme lengths to defend her dignity. When a group of construction workers harassed Kendl, CJ didn't just confront them. He killed them all and even buried the foreman alive. His action made it clear. When it came to family, CJ would do whatever it takes, even if it was heartless. If you like the video so far, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, as I'm planning to make some live stream videos and I would like to see you guys in there. Huge shout out to Spidey, the member of the channel, as this kind of help really supports the channel. Thank you all for watching so far, and let's continue. Helping OG Loke. When OG Loke was released from prison, he had nothing. No money, no reputation, and no real talent. But he was determined to become a famous rapper. Despite the odds and despite knowing that Loke lacked any real musical ability, CJ chose to support him anyway. He had no reason to get involved, no personal gain from it, he just wanted to help a friend chase his dream. CJ went out of his way to help OG Loke build his image. He stole music equipment, sabotaged real artists like Mad Dog, and even carried out violent tasks, all just to give Loke a shot at the fame he craved. Deep down, CJ probably knew that Loke didn't have what it takes, but he still stood by him. proving once again that loyalty mattered more to CJ than ambition or pride. Even when it seemed pointless, CJ had his friends back, simply because that's the kind of person he was. Saving Mad Dog. After helping OG Luke sabotage Mad Dog's career, stealing his rhyme book and killing his manager, CJ contributed to the downfall of a genuinely talented artist. Mad Dog's life spiraled into depression, and eventually he was driven to the edge, tempting to take his own life. CJ, witnessing the consequences of his earlier actions, possibly he began to feel remorse. He never really spoke his mind about it, so I'm not really sure what was driving him. But nonetheless, he realized that someone with real talent like Mad Dog didn't deserve to go out that way, especially not because of a fraud like OG Luke. Wanting to make things right, CJ stepped in and saved Mad Dog from suicide. From that moment, he committed himself to helping Mad Dog reclaim what was rightfully his. CJ went on to recover Mad Dog's stolen rhyme book from OG Luke and effectively undoing the damage he had caused. He also took back Mad Dog's mansion by confronting and killing Big Papa of the Los Santos Vagos. In the end, CJ didn't just return what was lost. He became Mad Dog's manager, ensuring his career would rise again with proper support. And he actually gained something from doing that, as now he's a successful rapper's manager and also is living in a big mansion. So I'm not really sure that his motives were truly just selfless, but nonetheless, CJ redeemed himself by restoring the artist's legacy. Helping Cesar regain his territory. Throughout the story, Cesar constantly proves his loyalty to CJ. He looks after Kendl with genuine care and respect, exposes Big Smoke and Ryder's betrayal, and stands by CJ during some of his darkest moments, from the fall of Grove Street to their time in exile. Cesar never asks for anything in return, aside from smashing with Kendl on the side.
Oh my God!
But nonetheless, he was a true friend. So when the Los Santos riots erupt and Cesar loses control of his neighborhood to rival gangs, it's only natural that CJ steps up. Not out of obligation, but out of brotherhood. CJ helps Cesar reclaim his territory, not for money, power or respect, but simply to show that he's got Cesar's back, just like Cesar always had his.
It's time to get my old gang back together. Push out those yay-slanging punks, eh?
I know, but I got a lot going on right here in my own hood, man. And I made my brother a promise.
All your brother wants you to do is pay back your debt, CJ.
Alright, I hear you. I got your back. Come on, let's roll.
It's a powerful moment that shows CJ's growth, and sweets I guess. But for once, CJ's the one returning the favor now. Saving Sweet in multiple occasions. CJ's loyalty to Sweet goes far beyond just helping him rebuild the Grove Street families. He risked his life time and time again to protect his brother. His dedication was driven by selfless love for his family. Early on, when Sweet is ambushed by several Boulevard families, CJ rushed in without hesitation to rescue him. There was no gain in it, only the risk of being gunned down. But CJ didn't care. For him, saving Sweet always came first. Later, when Sweet attempts to reunite the fractured Grove Street families during a critical meeting, the LSPD launch a surprise assault. A police chopper hovers overhead and SWAT units storm the area. Smoke and Ryder flee the scene in Sweet's car, but CJ doesn't abandon his brother. He charges into the motel, fighting through heavily armed officers and chaos, determined to get to Sweet. It wasn't about pride or gang repetition. CJ simply couldn't leave his brother behind.
Man, what you doing?
Go, get back in, man. We out of here, baby. I ain't leaving my brother. I ain't no buster.
The ultimate test of that loyalty comes when Cesar shows CJ proof of Big Smoke and Ryder's betrayal. Realizing that Sweet and the rest of the Grove Street are walking into a deadly Ebola's ambush, CJ immediately tells Cesar to take Kendl to safety, then he speeds towards Sweet and prevent a massacre. When CJ arrives, he finds Sweet wounded and the Grove under siege. Bolas swarming from all sides, bullets flying, and yet CJ doesn't flinch. He jumps into the firefight, holding off waves after waves of enemies to protect his injured brother.
It doesn't matter, man. We gotta get out of here. The cops will arrive any second.
Nah, man. You ain't running out on my brother. Yo, boss! I'm taking you, motherfucker. You hear me? I'm taking you all down, bitches!
When the LSPD finally arrives, forcing the gang to scatter, CJ stays, refusing to leave Sweet's side. He surrenders to the police, not out of fear, but because his brother's life meant more than his own freedom. That moment captures everything about CJ's character. When it comes to family, he doesn't run, he stands and fights. Even after his arrest, CJ remained focused on Sweet's safety. He keeps a low profile, obeying Tenpenny's every order, because any resistance could lead to harm coming Sweet's way. CJ sacrifices his freedom, his principles, and even his pride to protect his brother behind bars. Later, when Mike Torino offers a slim chance of getting Sweet out of prison, CJ takes it without hesitation. He jumps through every hoop Torino sets, risking his life on covert missions, not for money or power, but with the hope of freeing his brother and ensuring his safety inside. If freedom never came, Sweet never truly learns the extent of CJ's sacrifices, the threats he faced, the blood he spilled, the humiliation he endured. But we saw it, and through it all, CJ proved that his love for his brother was unwavering. Saving Kent, Macker and Ken from Salvatore Leone. While working in Las Venturas and getting deeper into the criminal underworld, CJ finds himself entangled with various eccentric characters, including Ken Rosenberg, Ken Paul, and Macker. Ken, who had fallen out of favor with many crime families due to his erratic behavior and drug addiction, had been trying to restart his life by managing a casino owned by the Leone family. But with Salvatore Leone's growing paranoia and temper, things quickly turned dangerous. Salvatore didn't trust Ken. He believed Ken knew too much about the Leone family's business and feared he could become a liability. Salvatore began to see all three of them as loose ends that needed to be tied up. Fearing for their lives, Rosenberg reaches out to CJ for help. CJ, already working to gain leverage over the mafia families in Las Venturas and looking to protect his associates, agrees to step in. CJ finds Ken, Paul and Macker stranded and hangover in the desert after a drug-fueled night gone wrong. After picking them up, they reveal that something isn't right with Salvatore and that Ken could be in serious trouble. CJ wastes no time, he heads straight to Caligula's casino where Ken had been working and confirms that Salvatore intends to kill him. Knowing there is no time to lose, CJ devises a plan to get all three out of Las Venturas safely. Through a series of careful moves, CJ helps the trio disappear from Salvatore's reach. He sneaks them out before the Leone hitman can act, ultimately ensuring they are safely away from the mafia's grip. Thanks to CJ's intervention, all three survive. Rosenberg eventually stays clean, Ken Paul goes back to the music scene, and Macker remains Macker.
I decided to get breast implants.
Loco ese.
CJ's actions not only saved their lives, but also cut out one more thread tying him to Salvatore Leone, helping him prepare for his own plans to take down the mafia influence in Las Venturas once and for all. It's another moment that showcases CJ's loyalty. But CJ's actions wasn't just selfless, he did some selfish things too, and now we're gonna talk about them. Using Catalina. Hear me out on this. It wasn't the most heartless thing CJ ever did, but it was definitely one of his more selfish choices. After being exiled from Los Santos and finding himself stranded in the countryside with nothing, CJ was desperate to get back on his feet. He needed money, power, and a way to rebuild. And Catalina, as dangerous and unstable she was, became a means to that end. Catalina was wild, unpredictable, and obsessed with CJ, and he knew it. CJ played along, pretending to love her, stringing her along just enough to stay in her good graces, or not to get shot, while they pulled off a series of small town heists together, robbing gas stations, bank, betting shops.
And I'll take you to rob banks and shit. And, you know, I'll let you kill anyone you want to kill.
CJ stayed focused on the prize, using the money and momentum from those jobs to slowly rise again. He never truly cared for Catalina the way she cared, or claimed to care. And once he got what he wanted, he walked away without looking back, leaving her furious, heartbroken, and betrayed. Sure, Catalina wasn't exactly stable. She quickly moved on to Claude and even harassed CJ later with phone calls.
Hello?
Yes, Claude! Faster, harder, deeper!
Catalina, you sick. Get help.
And you, Carl, you are jealous!
But that doesn't erase the fact that CJ used her. It wasn't evil, just a cold, calculated move in a desperate time. And look, I'm not saying that she didn't deserve it. Matter of fact, she deserves far worse. She deserved to die in an exploding helicopter, if you know what I mean. All I'm saying is that CJ pretended to care and love her, just use her in his heists. That's it.
Yeah, whatever. Have a good time.
I will.
Fine.
Okay.
Go. I ain't gonna miss you.
Goodbye.
using Millie Perkins. Millie Perkins, a croupier at Caligula's Palace in Las Venturas, unknowingly became a crucial part of CJ and Woozy's elaborate plan to rob the casino. With the Four Dragons casino facing pressure and intimidation from the mafia-controlled Caligula's, CJ and Woozy decided to strike back, to tip the balance of power in Las Venturas. Woozy's team identifies Millie as a potential weak link, someone on the inside who could give them access without raising alarms. In the mission Key to Her Heart, CJ follows Millie from work, interrupts and kills her date, Benny, then impersonates him to get closer to her. From that point on, CJ begins dating Millie, not out of affection, but as part of a calculated move to secure access to the casino's inner workings. Millie eventually falls for CJ, and once the relationship reaches a certain level, she gives him a key card to the casino, fully aware of his plan, but under the impression that she'll be getting a cut of the take. In her mind, it's a partnership. But in truth, CJ was using her. But Millie did get a share of the money as they agreed, so yeah, that one could pass, since she profited from it too. And the relationship didn't end there, so he didn't just ditch her after he got what he wanted. Kidnapping and killing Mad Dog's manager. OG Luke had everything he needed to fake his way into fame. The stolen rhyme book, the studio equipment, and now the ghost-written lyrics. But all that still wasn't enough. Hungry for more credibility in the industry, he sets his sights on Mad Dog's respected manager, Alan Crawford, hoping to use him as stepping stone to further his rap career.
Congratulations on your award, you must be thrilled.
Yeah. I like to thank my fans, my mama, and my dealer.
But Crawford wasn't buying it. He saw right through Luke's act, the lack of talent, and the shallow image, and refused to work with him. Rather than accept the rejection, Luke decided Crawford had outlived his usefulness, and ordered CJ to eliminate him. Despite knowing the manager was an innocent man with no real connection to gang life, CJ agrees. He tracks Crawford to an upcoming award ceremony, one of the rare times he's unaccompanied by Mad Dog. CJ then steals a clean, identical vehicle used by Crawford's security detail and blends seamlessly into the convoy. By the time Crawford realizes his new driver is a stranger, it's already too late. CJ drives the vehicle out toward the pier at Verona Beach, coldly ignoring whatever protests might be happening in the backseat. Then at the last moment, CJ jumps out, letting the car plunge into the ocean, killing both Crawford and the woman that was with him. It's one of CJ's most ruthless actions. These weren't gang members or corrupt officials, they were civilians, victim of OG Luke's ego and CJ's willing to go too far. Crawford's only crime was refusing to support a fraud, and for that, he and his companion paid with their lives, and in a horrible way to go too far. No loyalty, no revenge, just cold senseless murder. All for the sake of helping someone CJ didn't even respect. Shooting down the Bola's funeral. The funeral of Little Weasel, one of their own, who had recently been gunned down by CJ and Big Smoke during a drive-by. To Sweet, however, the funeral represents something entirely different. Opportunity. He tells CJ that nearly all high-ranking Bola's OGs will be in one place, a rare moment of vulnerability, and he insists they strike.
Peep this. Tenpenny just came by, said that one of them ballers that you and Smoke laid out, Lil Weasel, is getting buried and all the OGs gonna be there.
At a funeral?
CJ agrees, he recruits a crew of Grove Street members, and they rush to the cemetery before the funeral begins. Once they arrive, Sweet and the others scale the wall and signal to CJ that the area is clear. CJ and the Grove Street crew launch the fall assault, gun blazing in the middle of what was meant to be a moment of grief and remembrance. Kane is gunned down along with several Bolas in cold blood, not in the middle of a turf shootout, but at a funeral. But in CJ's defense, they did the exact same thing to him in his mom's funeral. Not only that, but they were the reason that his mother got killed in the first place. So to be honest, he did exactly what they did to him. Body Harvest mission gameplay wise. In the mission Body Harvest, the Truth, eccentric and paranoid as always, asks CJ to retrieve a combine harvester from a remote farm in Flint County, run by a group of heavily armed survivalists. According to the Truth, this piece of machinery is essential for his bizarre weed operation, but before CJ can get paid or move forward, he's told he must infiltrate the farm and steal it. When CJ arrives, the place is crawling with rifle-wielding farmers and shovel-carrying survivalists, who view any outsider as a threat to their tight-knit isolationist community. CJ is forced to either sneak his way to the harvester or violently cut through the locals who stands in his path. But what truly sets this mission apart and makes it one of the most disturbingly dark in the game is what comes next. Once CJ gets behind the wheel of the harvester, the gameplay mechanics allow him to literally run over the farmers, grinding them into pulp in brutal graphic fashion. The machine doesn't just knock them down, it turns them into bursts of blood and limbs, as if they were crops being harvested. The game not only permits it, but practically encourages this as an efficient way to clear a path for escape. While the mission fits within GTA's over-the-top and chaotic world, this particular act stands out as especially cruel. These survivalists, while hustle and armed, are ultimately just defending their land, scaring Johnny Sindaco. Carl visits Woozie at his new casino in Las Venturas, where Woozie explains the pressure he's under. The casino is being harassed by one of the city's 3 mafia families, the Leones, the Forellis, or the Sindacos, all determined to keep the triads out of the gambling business. Woozie, needing help, offers Carl a deal, assists in dealing with these threats, and in return, Carl will get a share of the casino. Carl agrees without hesitation. Not long after, a triad reports that some thugs have been causing disruptions, and one of them has been captured. Woozie simply orders his men to dispose of the thug, but Carl has a different idea. Something far more strategic, but cruel. Instead of killing him outright, CJ instructs the triad to tie the man to the hood of the car. When Carl arrives, the thug, Johnny Sindaco, is already strapped helplessly to the vehicle.
You know what? I think we're gonna take a little drive.
What are you, fucking stupid? I'm not joking here. Untie me, motherfucker.
Nah, I think I'ma leave you right where you are.
CJ then takes him on a high-speed, reckless drive through the city, careening down busy streets, launching off ramps, and narrowly avoiding crashes, all with the terrified man screaming for his life. CJ doesn't need to beat him or threaten him with a weapon. The psychological torture is more than enough. Eventually, Johnny, in a panic, spells the truth. He's with the Sindaco family. That's all CJ wanted. He stops the car, leaves the traumatized man behind, and casually heads back to the casino. And we later see him displaced and on a wheelchair. And his heart stops when he sees CJ. I mean, he sure was a mafia member, so I wouldn't really have much empathy for him, but come on, you're gonna feel even a little bit bad for him.
I still got a little bit of the night terrors, touch of diarrhea, but I'll get through it.
Huh, diarrhea. Cool.
And who's this?
How you doing, Johnny?
It's fucking him. It's him. Oh my head. Oh god, it's him. Oh, my heart. My heart.
Damn, that nigga fucked up.
I really like CJ's comment here. Burying a guy under concrete. As we mentioned before, CJ cares so much about his family, especially his sister. And in the mission Deconstruction, she came telling CJ that some of the workers harassed her. CJ, being the protective brother, went there to teach them a lesson. He went there, shot all of them, and trapped the worker into a mobile toilet, pushing him into a hole and bury him in concrete. The guy was definitely an asshole for harassing a girl, but dying like that for it? I guess we all agree it was a bit too far. But CJ isn't the only protagonist with a good side. Michael isn't just a betrayer, and here we talked about that, and Trevor isn't just a sociopath, and we talked about that in this video. Thank you all for watching, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe, huge shout out to Spidey, and I see you guys in the next video. Peace!